Hey, we'll give people a few minutes to pop on. I am sitting at home in my kitchen. Give it just a few more seconds. There we go. Hey guys, how are you? Do me a favor as you pop on. Hey Steven, nice to see you. As you pop on, if you could just, hey Stacy Marie, if you could just tell me what city. Thank you for the thumbs up already. Hey Carl, how are you? If you could just tell me where you are. Dr. Dre, I got to talk to you. I got to talk to you. I'm glad you popped on. It reminded me. I meant to try to reach out to you earlier this week. Hey, Stacy. But I'm glad you popped on because that just reminded me. You see how God works? That's what I needed. I'm good, Otis. Thank you. So I'm super happy because we are getting just a little bit of fall weather. So that is the good news. Hey, Brian. What's up, dude? Hey, Brian. We're getting a little bit of fall weather, and I'm so excited because it's been really, really hot. Even though eventually we got up to 86 degrees today, it was, a little bit cool in the morning. Hey, Reginald, thanks for joining in. And so I'm excited about that. And I did have to bring, you're in Cleveland. Is it starting to get cold in Cleveland already? I think I got to go next month. I'm nervous about that. So I had to, hey Lamar, I had to bring all my plants in from outside. So it's an interesting setup. I had to actually rearrange the dining room. Hey Luana, how are you? Hey Chi-Town, you in the house? I had to rearrange my my formal dining room so that I could put all the plants in the dining room because that's where, hey DeMarco, that's where a lot of the sun is. So we'll see how that goes. And then I don't know if I told you guys, but we got a new dog. We got a puppy. And so that's where the kennel is going to go to. So I have lost an entire room. Oh, hey, Phil. Oh, you're the one, Phil. Hey, Mom, you're the one that was advocating getting her on Oprah. I remember. Hey, Roland. And so I wanted to quickly go over, I was doing a training today with a client and we were really working on press releases because that's, hey Carrie in West Point, that's kind of what they've been working on. And press releases are really important if you're trying to get any kind of media for your business, your product, your service. Don't tease me, Will. Pop on with 89 degrees. You're sitting on the beach. Hey Franklin. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about the 10 commandments. And even though I wrote them as commandments, I'm not going to do that because I kept messing up shout. It just sounds weird. So I'm going to go through, hey, Gary, Selden, New York. Where is Selden near? I'm not familiar with Selden. So I'm just going to go through them really quickly. So really they're just 10 rules. I put commandments. I was trying to be cute and creative, but it's kind of backfiring on me. Hey, Jason. And so the first commandment is to be newsworthy and engaging. So I think a lot of people, they think of press releases as just kind of, thank you for the likes. If you guys could share this, that would be great too. Hey, Markeith, how are you? I think a lot of people just think of press releases as, like announcements. Hey, Reggie from Augusta, Georgia. Thanks for joining in. But really, the purpose of a press release is to show the value that you are going to offer whatever the audience is. Hey, Julian, how are you? So if you're pitching a radio station, and that's just what I worked in for a long time. Hey, Reginald from Chicago. So let's just focus on radio because I can talk about that really, really well. Hey, Brian. Hey, Crystal Gay. How are you, honey? It's good to see you. I hope you saw my note that I sent you. If you didn't, let me know. Hey, Eric Jerome Dickey. So you want to make sure that you're showing the value that you are going to offer the audience. So if you are a financial expert and you've written a book, and hey, Genius in London, and you want to pitch your book for an interview, the value is not that you wrote the book. The value is whatever information, thanks to Marco, value is whatever information that is contained in the book. So, saying, emailing or, sending your pitch to the radio station and saying, I want to talk about my book. Hey, Ty, how are you? Is not effective because I don't care about your book. As a radio producer, as the producer of a show, I don't care about your book. I care about and I say that in the most loving way possible. I care about the value that you are going to provide my audience. So you need to make sure, hey, Shirley's, hey, Mr. Jackson, you want to make sure that people know the value that you're going to give. So that's the first thing. The second thing, hey, Muhammad, is that you don't want to stuff your press release with keywords. If you're not a techie and you're not into SEO, this is not going to make sense to you. But because press releases are now distributed a lot on the internet, people got the great idea that they were going to stuff them with keywords so that they would rank higher in the Google search. And even though that's really effective sorry, DeMarco, even though that's really effective for your SEO ratings, it is not a great read for the producer. So you want to make sure that you keep your focus on what's going to be good for the producer, not necessarily your SEO rankings. And so then the third rule is kind of the same way. You don't want to put a lot of links in your press release that are only for SEO. If you put links to your press release, make sure it's because it's valuable, like you're sending them to get more information about your event, or you're sending them to get more information about your product or service, but not just because you're trying to boost your website's rankings. You want to make sure that it makes sense. Hey, Regina, how are you? Thank you for joining. So we're talking about, I say commandments, but we're talking about the rules, really, of effective press releases. Hey, Freddie. Oh, you're doing some serious networking? Okay, good. I'm glad. Thank you. You stay blessed, too. I always appreciate you tuning in. The other thing is that you want to make sure that if you have visuals for whatever it is that you're doing, that you provide them. So I always say put them on your website and then provide a link to that, because we don't really like to open a lot of attachments anymore, just because of the whole spam issue and going to sites where you may get some kind of virus or something. So you want to make sure that thank you, DeMarco. I always appreciate when you when you sign off on what I'm doing. You want to make sure that you provide the links. Thank you, Lamar. SEO, search engine optimization. Yes. You want to make sure that you provide links to visuals, because, like, say, for instance, you have a foundation and you're doing all this work with children. I mean, the first thing I'm going to want to see is, like, all these cute little kids that, you're impacting and your impact on their lives. I mean, I want to see that. Even if we're radio, I mean, we have a website, and so visuals are very important no matter what you're doing. And then the other rule, this is number 6, you want to make sure that you're telling a story, right? So you don't want this to be just a big, long sales pitch, because we go back to my point A, is that we don't care about your book, or we don't care about your product, we don't care about your service. And you will find in business, not just in media, if you are an entrepreneur and you are in business, you will find that most people don't really care per se about your product, your service, whatever it is. What they care about is the transformation that you are going to provide. So I always like to use Spanx as an example when I talk about this. So, as a product, I mean, Spanx is Spanx. I mean, it's okay. But what we buy into as women, and even some men, I don't judge, what we buy into is the physical transformation that we get from purchasing and wearing Spanx. That's what we buy into. And so anybody that provides, or anything that provides, why is that interesting, DeMarco? Anything that provides that transformation, that's what we want. And so you need to think about that for your book, for your product, for your service. Figure out what transformation. Are you, changing their lives by giving them financial freedom? Are you changing their lives by giving them more self-esteem? What is the transformation that you're providing? That's what people buy into. And when you focus on the transformation, your business will change. I guarantee it. So many of us are too focused on the product or the service and not the transformation that is being provided. So that's just a little business talk too, but it also is true for the media. We want to know, as I said, the value that you're providing and the transformation that our listeners, our readers, our viewers are going to go through based on what it is that you are sharing. The next thing is that, good. Well, good, DeMarco. I'm sharing something that could be of value to you. I love it. The next rule is to expand distribution. So a lot of times clients will come to me and they're just really concerned about making sure that their little, their radio, I shouldn't say little. I did not mean little. That the radio station in their city, Waco, Texas, gets their press release. And it really is bigger than that. So, like I said, press releases are distributed, on the internet all the time now. And I had a client who she was having a fundraiser in Dallas. It was for a children's foundation. Hey, Damon Williams, how are you? I'm You just made me really happy. I'm really happy to see you, Damon. And so we distributed the press release, and some little city in Minneapolis ran this fabulous story that helped her raise some money, even though the fundraiser was actually in Dallas and not Minneapolis. And so you never know who might pick up your story. It's like we're no longer on the 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, unless, somebody dies or there's breaking news kind of news cycle. It is 24/7, and news media outlets, we're always looking for content. And so you want to make sure that you're providing that content, not just in a little area that, it may, that surrounds you, but nationwide, internationally. Hey, Brian, thanks for checking in, honey. And so you want to make sure that you're looking at nationwide. Stop, DeMarco, don't you start some comedian beef on my, on my live. Hey, Brittany. The other thing is that you want to make sure that the press release is easy to share. So when you put the press release on your website, and you should put your press releases on your website, make sure that you have all the share buttons available. So, so people can share it on Twitter, or they can share it on Facebook, or they can email it to their contacts. You want to make sure that it's, in this social world that we're living in, that it's easy to share. The 9th rule or commandment. Are you talking to me or Damon now, DeMarco? I think you're talking to me, because I am smart and I am resourceful. The next thing, Lamar, please do not encourage DeMarco. The next thing is you want to make sure that you don't just put quotes in the press release just to share quotes. So I always say don't use stale quotes. If you're going to use quotes, because we're as CEOs, thank you, DeMarco. As CEOs, we like to put in these really official sounding quotes about our business, but they really don't serve to move the story. So if you're going to put quotes in there, right, Brian. If you're going to put quotes in there, make sure that they're moving the story along, that they're not just in there because they make you sound good as a CEO or make your business sound good. And then the last one, and I think the most important commandment of effective press releases, or the 10th rule, is that you make sure that you're working on building relationships, and you're not just looking at an opportunity for exposure for your business, your product, your service, your book, your song, your show, whatever. It really is in business and life and in media. Brian, I don't know what you're so serious about, honey. What are you so serious about? It really is about building relationships. Hey, Robert. And you want to make sure that you're building these relationships before you actually need them. So you want to, especially, and it's really easy for local media, because you can just go to an event they're at. You're going to introduce yourself, tell them who you are, what you do, and how you're going to provide value to them. And so it's really easy to start building those relationships. The other thing is that once you get the interview, if you want me to send you an electronic press release about me and my business? Is that what you're asking? I'm not clear. And then the other thing is that once you get the interview, or you get, that whatever it is, the story done or the feature done, you want to make sure that you follow up with that. Okay, I can. I mean, why don't you inbox me, and I'll make sure you have what you need. Yeah, you have to, DeMarco, you have to build relationships, because I'm telling you that I have got more opportunities just based on the relationships that I've built than just the talent that I have. Hey, Sharon. So you want to make sure that you're building those relationships. And especially when, it's such a... even though we need a lot of content, there is a limit to the content that we can use. And so you want to make sure you give yourself every advantage that you can. And if I know who you are, like if you pop up in my inbox and I recognize your name, I'm certainly going to look at what you have before I look at somebody that I don't recognize. And when, thanks you, Brian. And when I was producing, I would get like 250 to 350 email pitches a day, depending on, what was going on. Hey, Charnel. So you want to make sure that you're building those relationships so that you can then continue to serve as a resource. So after you get your first interview, you want to make sure that you then are always making yourself available to the journalist to be a resource. If you're a financial expert, and this is just an easy field to talk about, if you're a financial expert, there are times of the year that you should always be pitching yourself. Tax time, back to school time, Like how do you save properly for college, or how do you make sure that you don't go into debt getting all the school supplies you need, or how do you teach your children how to manage their money as they get ready to leave the nest, those kind of things. Tax time, that's easy. Even in the summer, like people getting ready for weddings, like how do you recover after you spend all that money getting married? Valentine's Day, like how do you have a special Valentine's Day out on a budget? I mean, there's so many opportunities, and there's so many different opportunities that happen every single year that you should not be caught sleeping on those opportunities. And I'll talk about like the different, because there are like different seasons for everything, and there are different ways to pitch, and maybe I'll talk about that tomorrow. But I just wanted to talk about press releases because that was what I spent most of my day doing. Well, you should do it, DeMarco. You should do it. That's all I can say. Go to White Castle. Y'all are not gonna worry me today. So that's it. Those are my effective rules, my rules for effective press releases. Like I said, I've been focused on that all day, so I thought I would share. Do you think that place to go is an opportunity to build a relationship or network? I'm not sure what you mean. So there, I offered a free gift. I think that it is a media planner. I change it almost every day, but it's at blessmenikki.com, and you can pick it up, and hopefully it will help you as you strive to get more media for your product, your service, your business, whatever. But media is still a great way to not only establish visibility, but to build your platform and establish credibility. I think a lot of what some entrepreneurs are lacking is not just the visibility. I mean, you need more eyes on your product, your service, your book, your brand in order to be successful and to build a sustainable business. But you also need that credibility. Sometimes a third-party media can provide that third-party endorsement. So there you go. So I have another class that I have to teach at 8 o'clock, but I just wanted to pop on and say, hey, and to share that little bit of information. But I'm going to go get geared up for that, because that class is about writing a book and becoming a bestseller. So it's a whole different mindset. So I am going to go get ready for that. But I appreciate you guys popping on. I appreciate the shares. I appreciate the love. And I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.